Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Got some updated odds after the Derek Carr news. The Saints before yesterday were plus 210 to win the NFC South. They're now plus 130. So the Saints are now the betting favorite to win the NFC South. As far as the Super Bowl, still a long shot. The Saints were plus 5,000. Now they're plus 3,000. So, I mean, I think it's pretty understandable what it's going to be. I mean, the Saints are going to be a team. Like, they're a roster with a lot of holes. Yes, there's free agency and there's the draft. So they have an opportunity still to improve their roster, as I suspect they will. But are they going to make themselves into a championship contender? Probably not. But they should make themselves into the favorite to win the NFC South. And if they stay healthy and play out the string, they should win what will likely be a bad division. But this is one of the most interesting parts is, I saw this earlier today. This is per Elias Sports Bureau. Should everything go the way we are assuming it will, and that every team in the NFC South will have a new starting quarterback week 1 of 2023 as opposed to week 1 of 2022, this would be the first time since 1973 that an entire division has a new starting quarterback from the previous year, week 1. In 1973, it was the AFC West that had their entire division turn over their starting quarterbacks. Of course, for the Saints last year, the week 1 starter was Jameis Winston. For the Bucs, the week 1 starter was Tom Brady. For the Panthers, the week 1 starter was Marcus Mariota. And for the Panthers, the week 1 starter was Baker Mayfield. And for the Falcons, the week 1 starter was Marcus Mariota. So, when Jameis Winston is released by the Saints, none of those players that were starters last year, week 1 in the NFC South, will even be with their team. So, Kyle Trask is the likely starter in Tampa, unless they draft, or we'll see how that goes. Remember, the Panthers still have Matt Corral, who they drafted a year ago, and they have the number 9 overall pick for this year's draft. So we'll see who that week 1 starter may be. And for 2023, the Falcons could ride with Desmond Ridder or draft someone else or make a play in free agency. Maybe they go after Lamar Jackson. There's been some talk about that, about Atlanta going all in to get Lamar Jackson away from Baltimore. But it's we've seen these. There's no question that the NFC South is the worst division in football, and nobody's going to debate that at this point. But we have seen. And this is the beauty of the NFL, and it's why parity does reign in the NFL, because the way the system is set up is to allow the teams that are the worst the opportunity to draft the best players and improve. And if you draft appropriately, you can improve. And it was just 2 years ago, during the COVID year, that the NFC East was atrocious, y'all. I mean, at the time, the Washington football team won that division at 7-9. Remember, they hosted the eventual Super Bowl champion Buccaneers in that opening round playoff game in the wild card round. The NFC East this year was a bear. I mean, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. Dallas was a very good team. The Giants were much improved under Brian Daboll. I mean, it can happen quickly. I mean, the Panthers were 7-8-1 when they won the NFC South in 2014. A couple of years later, they were in the Super Bowl. So It can turn around very quickly for franchises, for divisions as a whole. And I think I think the Panthers showed the way they finished last year. Their roster is pretty solid. Tampa's interesting because they're really good in spots and then they're really old in spots. And the Saints are a little bit of a conundrum, because I feel like whatever I say will come out somewhat as a giant homer take with New Orleans, but I do think New Orleans has the potential to be good on the offensive line. Obviously, if Alvin Kamara is healthy and available, he's very good. They have good young pieces on the defensive side, but they have giant holes as well. I mean, you could need to replace a starting left tackle. You certainly need help at running back. Outside of Chris Olave, do you really have a great number 2 receiving option? You have one defensive tackle, interior defensive player under contract. So there's holes that New Orleans needs to address, but the Saints right now, after adding Derek Carr, are the betting favorite to win the NFC South next year at plus 130. I suspect they will win the NFC South and be in the playoffs, but how deep of a run can they make? That's kind of the question. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.